Hey there, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scaryish podcast.
Woo.
I'm Robin Grace. This is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here with another set of stories sent into us by you folks. We here like to call them homegrown horrors, and they consist of a menagerie of things. So we've had like true crime things, we've had hauntings, weird happenings, coincidental happenings.
Sometimes extraterrestrial stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. So anytime you have a homegrown horror that you would like to send us, or it could be the story of a family member or a friend that you believe to be true, or you can send it in and be like, I'm skeptical, I want to know what you guys think. You can send it to storytime@scaryish.com. That's our email address. Or go to our website, scaryish.com. That's our website. And click on Contact Us. That's a button that makes a form for you to fill out. It comes directly to us.
But not a physical button. Digital button.
Obviously. It's on a website. How would you get a physical button to pop up from a website?
Magic.
Yeah, it could be. Email us about magic, too, if you think magic's real. Magic's dope.
Bro, magic has to be real because I have a friend. He's a magician, and I swear to God, some of the stuff he does, I just don't get it.
Yeah, definitely has to be magic.
I don't get it.
Sure.
I don't know how he does it. It's incredible.
Anyways, you can also hit us up on our social medias. Twitter is @ScarishPod. Instagram is @ScarishPodcast. And Facebook is Facebook.com/ScarishPodcast. So we can have this debate about whether or not you think magic is real and if you have friends that are magicians.
Dude, it's got to be real.
He's very good, for sure.
He's very good.
So yeah, we're going to be reading 4 of the homegrown horrors we've had sent in to us tonight. Essentially, what we were planning on doing was a topic episode that was chosen by our wonderful patrons. 2 topics were chosen by them, and we'll let you guys know because next week we're going to be covering those. One of them is going to be hurricanes. They decided to let me keep going with my scary weather season. And then the other one is medical mystery, which I believe Robin is going to be covering because I'm doing hurricanes. I called it.
Yeah.
It's like calling shotgun.
Yep.
So expect that next week. And this week, the episode is a day late, and there's very good reason for that. It's none of your fucking business. No, I'm kidding.
No, oh my God.
It's been a very hectic time, specifically for me right now at work. I kind of talked about it a little bit in the last couple months, but just a lot of things happening, and I'm really trying to work my butt off to try and move forward a little bit. We'll see if it winds up working out. And then I did have to travel this weekend on Sunday and Monday to take a meeting with some folks, which was really, really great. I'm really glad I got the opportunity to do it. And it was something that was a professional level thing, but at the same time, it was kind of laid back and nice to talk to people that I've been working with for 4 years and have only met in a work from home, video chat capacity, which is kind of crazy to think I met these people right when the pandemic started. Yeah. And this is the first time I've seen them in person. It's always so funny. And I don't know if I should be offended about this, but people always tell me oh man, you're a lot taller than I thought you'd be.
Oh, did they say that to you?
Oh yeah. They're like, I just pictured you as the same height as me. And they were both 5'6", 5'7". I was like, oh no, you're tiny. I could crush you in one hand. But no, it was cool to meet them in person and just kind of talk shop a little bit. I felt kind of bad. I picked a coffee house for us to meet, and they had giant glass double doors that they just had propped open, even though it was kind of cold in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And by the time the meeting was over, this person I was meeting with was shivering, and she had her coat on. I was like, I'm so sorry I picked this place. I really thought they wouldn't have the fucking doors propped open. So anyways, all that to say, I didn't get home last night until late. So there was no way we were going to stay up until sunrise and then have Robin go to work as soon as we finish doing our topic without any sleep. So yeah, it's a good time for story time, as I like to say. I'm going to be reading 2. Robin's going to be reading 2. I think I'm going to go first. What's up with you, Robin? Anything you want to talk about that's been rocking your world for the last 2 weeks besides me, Wink Wonk?
No, I just ended up taking care of the dogs this weekend and chilling.
Carlos Sainz won.
Oh, bro!
I thought you were going to bring that up.
Carlos Sainz won the Australian Grand Prix. I get to marshal in my first MotoGP in a couple weeks. I'm very excited.
She's bought in. The obsession is real, folks.
So I'll be a marshal there. I'll be a marshal in Miami, too. So it's very exciting.
And I'll be an Adam still in both those places. I'm not changing my name for anyone.
He'll be my +1 and get just free tickets to the races.
Indeed. So it should be interesting coming up. We'll let you know when those travel arrangements are. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. I think we got some fun travel coming up this year. But for now, we're sitting here at a computer with microphones in front of our face for wonderful stories to read. I hope. They could be dog shit. I'll be real with you. If we do read stories and they're not good, I had just edited.
You would never know.
Edit it straight out of the
Y'all
episode.
would never know.
Grab another one. We start it up. We've only ever had to do it like twice, and it's usually because it was like, please don't share this. But it's like halfway through the email, you're like, oh shit, like we got to re-record that.
And or sometimes we have to edit on the fly, or there's just something that we can't share. Some stories are fucking weird, guys.
Yeah, we've gotten some weird ones from time to time, but I'd say from the thousands that we've gotten, that's probably like...
We had thousands?
Oh, yeah. We've had, I think, close to 2,000 at this point. I could do the math, but I don't feel like doing it right now. But anyways...
doing the meth.
Yeah, I guess. I know, I've never done meth. Don't knock it till you try it.
What the frick?
Seriously, though, don't try meth. That's a bad drug, y'all. Oh, my
God.
That's a bad drug. I worked in a really bad GameStop, and we had so many folks that were addicted to crystal meth that were shopping in our store, and it was just so hard to watch these folks come in and be like, oh man.
Anyway,
we'll that's some real scary shit.
We'll move on to the first
on this episode of Homegrown Horrors. Drugs. No, seriously. God. Let's just get into this first email.
You remember the whole bath salts thing?
When
people were eating people's faces off?
Yeah,
bro.
I do. I remember that.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm just going to share one quick GameStop story from when I worked in Meth Head City, USA.
Okay.
I was doing a close open, so I was opening the store at like...
We like to call them clopens.
Clopens. It's where you close the night before and you open the next day. I left the place at like 11 o'clock, and I had to open it like 7 or 8 because of holiday hours. And this dude who just looked like he hadn't slept in days showed up, and like his clothes were all bedraggled and dirty. And usually when people come in, they're trying to trade stuff in for money, and I'm like not going to judge too much, but he had scratch marks across his face. Like he had just been in a fucking fight with someone, and they just clawed him. And he was trying to sell a cell phone battery at GameStop for cash.
A cell phone battery?
Just the battery. I was like, do you know what phone it's to? He's like, no. And I was just like, you literally just stole this from someone probably like half a block away and ran straight to GameStop. And so he like left, and then he came back in. He's like, would you take it with the cell phone? Like he was going to try and go find the person he stole it from. I was like, no. And realistically, yeah, I could have taken it, but it was just one of those moments where it's like, the fuck am I doing here? Like it was so horrible.
You know what though? You've grown career-wise.
Yeah, I'm huge now.
And I literally said career-wise. And I guess as a person... personality-wise.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You're great.
So, okay, let's get on to these Homegrown Horror show. I'm glad we did a little bit of an intro, though, because we missed you guys. It's been 2 weeks, so.
And I'm sure they're like, these two are a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, what is their life?
We've been a shit show for 7 years. This is nothing new to you folks.
Have we been doing this for 7 years?
How did you forget? We had our 6-year anniversary.
I thought that was the 5-year anniversary.
Ago. Nope.
Holy, wow.
We started this in the end of 2017.
Holy rusted metal, Batman.
Or end of 2018. I don't fucking know, guys. We're going to keep going. Okay? Can I get to this first Homegrown Horror?
Yeah.
All right. This first one's from Alex. Subject is my first ever ghost encounter. Can't read on podcast.
All right.
Good stuff. Starts out like this. Hi, Batman and Robin.
Hey.
So clever. Then it says, oops, I mean Adam West. Fucking... nailed it. Hashtag sarcasm.
You guys don't know how when Adam first read that, he was just like,
I think that was my exact noise. So, all right, let's keep going here. Just want to say I'm a huge fan. I obviously love y'all's podcast. I've been a fan for about a year now and wanted to tell you about my first ghost encounter. And as a side note, I did post this on Reddit just in case this story sounds familiar to anyone, I guess. This happened back in 2008 or 2009. I'm 22 now. So back when I was 8 years old, my mother and baby sister shared a birthday and we were celebrating it. I'm Mexican, so back then those little parties lasted way into the night. Needless to say, it was dark. I was jumping on my trampoline with my cousin that was positioned to the right side of my house looking towards my neighbor's backyard. While I was jumping around playing with my cousin, I remember falling to my knees to rest. I looked towards my neighbor's yard and saw this white translucent figure. It was kind of deformed. I remember it having 2 deep dark holes where its eyes should be, and a gaping black hole of a mouth that was opened, and a 4th hole directly in the center of its head. And no, it wasn't small either. I remember it being decently sized.
The hole or the entity?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. To me, I'm picturing a like white... cloaked Dementor from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Except it has an extra hole in its head for some reason. So that's what I'm picturing. Let's keep going here. I also recall it having arms, but no visible hands though, and its bottom half kind of dissolving to nothing like a gradient effect. I remember it so well, yet I only ever saw it once in my life and probably for roughly a minute or so because my cousin and I looked at it and got scared when we realized it was a flipping ghost. And it didn't do anything. I just remember it was just floating there. Then we shat our pants and ran to tell our parents. That's basically it. I have had other encounters like shadow figures and hearing my name called out like, Alex. I hope I did that well.
It says like beckoning me, so I think it's more like, Alex.
That's way creepier. Although kind of hot in your voice. Like beckoning me. And when I went to ask any of my sisters if they called my name, they all denied it, even though I am 100% positive my name was said. Anyway, that's all. I wish all of you a great day and keep on creeping on.
Nice.
Yeah, that's...
I think children in general are more likely to see things.
Right.
I think there's like an innocence there where you just are more open to that type of stuff. I think that's why kids see things, and kids can remember, like certain children have been known to remember their past lives, or
right.
I think that's something that's totally plausible. You never know.
Yeah, and it's definitely an experience where, I think everyone has something that happened to them when they were a kid that just sort of imprints on their memory, that they remember the details like super vividly. It's like they were there. And the older you get, you don't really look back on it and like try and reason out like what you saw as an adult. You just sort of see it through the child's eyes still in your memory. So it still remains scary. So it's like something you can recall pretty well even as a grown up. So I feel like a lot of folks have those stories. So I appreciate that you chose to share it with us. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that I remember from jumping on a trampoline is falling off and getting the wind knocked out of me.
Oof. I don't have any like horrific memories of jumping on a trampoline. I do remember like a tornado forming by where I grew up and it didn't touch down, but there was enough wind where my trampoline vanished. Like it was just fucking gone. And then I got a second one, and that one, same thing happened years later, and I got thrown into the woods by my house, and it like went from a trampoline to like an L. Like it got completely bent.
I thought you were going to say, so we had a forest trampoline.
Yeah. I dragged it back out, and I was like, there's no salvaging this, I give up. So 2 birthdays gone to waste buying a trampoline with the money I made from all my cards. But anyways.
You know what you have to do?
What?
Put the trampoline inside the house.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Problem solved. Just smash your head into the ceiling over and over. But cool. We're going to move on to the next one.
All right. So for the second story of the episode, I love the title of this email. It's titled Puppy Love. So cute.
That is pretty good.
We're big dog people. So we have a cat too, but like Puppy Love is just too cute.
No, I'm literally just a large person that's actually a dog. I'm an anthropomorphic dog that walks on 10 legs. I'm a literal huge dog person.
Explains why you hump everything.
It's not true.
Anyway, it goes, what up, spookies? Sup?
Sup?
We're
weird,
the spookies.
We have to say weird nickname, but that's right. What's up?
Love what you do and enjoy it all. I have a few instances of scary shit happening to me, but I'll limit it to one for today. If it's too long, go ahead and cut this down. No,
Wouldn't it be fucking hilarious if I edited this right now, where it's like, if it's too long, cut this down, and then we just read the last sentence.
And that's how the cookie crumbles. Okay. Continuing on. It was about 2013-ish. I was living in a studio apartment above a barbershop here in small town Indiana. Ooh, Adam's so familiar with small town Indiana.
Small town, yeah.
The second and third floors of the entire block of connected buildings had been ravaged by a fire several decades before, and the owner/barber of said shop decided to revamp and convert the upper floors into apartments. Great way to make money. I was the lucky ducky who got the newly refurbished front unit with all the old giant windows and lightly charred woodwork he had saved.
It's like the tragedy really adds character to the wood.
Anywho's, I had been living there for a few months with a significant other, and we broke up. I got the quote-unquote privilege of keeping the leased apartment, utilities, the Verizon bill, and phone payments. Molly the Beagle, and a gosh dang kitten that the ex had recently carted home before they packed and left.
Yeah, congratulations, you inherited all the responsibility and all the heartbreak.
Yeah. Molly and I had slept poorly that first night alone, hearing lots of creaking and things. We had neighbors and other units up there, so I just kept telling myself, and the dog, that the sounds were nothing. I have experienced that before, where it was just like my first night alone in my apartment. I swear I heard fucking everything. I could not sleep. I got up, got dressed. It was like maybe 3 a.m, maybe 3 or 4 a.m, got up and walked to my friend's house.
Wow.
And I just hung out at their house because I was like, I cannot sleep in my apartment by myself.
I've had that
awful.
feeling of like being creeped out, especially when I was down in Arizona at that GameStop I was talking about, actually. So I was like in this house by myself. It was a fairly new build, but I was just really creeped out by the house. It did not have a good vibe to it. And I know that sounds silly to some folks.
No. That house had weird vibes.
It was cheap and it was available for some reason. And so I rented it and I just didn't really like being there at all. And like the cat, who usually is a loner and she would sleep wherever by herself, she slept in the bed, curled up to me every night. And on the other side was the dog. And the house made a lot of noises and I was definitely creeped out in it. And I was not comfortable there.
That cat did weird things while we were there. Like would be moments where she would scare me in that house.
The cat?
Yeah. There was one point where I was getting out of the shower and for some reason how she looked at me, it was not how she normally looks at you, you know? And she did this weird slow head tilt thing that she does not do. If you met our cat, you would know she's not cute. She doesn't make like random head movements or anything like that. She has resting bitch face and she chills, minds her own business, and that's all she does all day. But the way she tilted her head and looked at me, I literally threw my towel at her and ran out of that room. I was so scared.
Wow.
Yeah, that house was just no bueno.
Yeah, I remember like looking up, like, how can I tell if someone died in this house? And then finding out how old it was. It was only like 20 years old at most, but there's like no law in Arizona that they had to disclose that to someone who was renting it.
Yeah.
It was only if you sold it. And I was just like, how deep do I want to dig on this shit? Because I have no other alternative but to live here.
And we had all black animals. We have a black cat. And that I think added to what scared me too is like we had this black cat that looked at me in this way that she normally does not do. It just freaked me the fuck out. Anyway, continuing on to the actual story we're reading and not about the trauma that is our lives. Bright and early the next morning, the sun was streaming in beautifully and dappling that snoring beagle. I got out of bed, put on a robe, closed the closet, and then went to the restroom. I came back into the main room and the closet door was hanging open. I just thought, okay, I must not have latched it and it must not be level or whatever. I checked to make sure it wasn't the kitten in the closet and I shut it again. By now, Molly had moved to an even cuter spot atop a bench, staring out one of the big windows to the snow-covered town square below. How does one refuse a photogenic opportunity of their beloved fur baby? You can't. You just take a picture of them.
You take pictures of her
Lots
all the
of
time.
pictures of them. I tiptoe rushed to the love seat where my iPhone 4 was hooked to the only charger I owned. The iPhone 4, man, ages this. And of course, it's been unplugged from the full surge protector in the night. Now, I know I made sure that bitch was charging before I laid down. So again, I mentally blame the kitten, even though I'm fully aware she doesn't have the thumbs to pull the block out of its snug position while leaving nothing else disturbed.
Yeah, but if she like grabbed that block and was like dangling from it or just like pulling at it, they can pull them out. Cats are very ingenious when it comes to ways they can just fuck with your stuff.
Well, our cat just chews through the entire cable.
I was going to say, our cat would have just bit through that fucking thing and your phone wouldn't have been charged anyways.
There was one time I got a brand new iPhone. Sorry, this is like a tangent-full episode. I had a rabbit. My rabbit's name was Edward because I loved Twilight. So I named
with a D, like your
I
love
still love
ended.
Twilight. But I named my rabbit Edward. Which is funny because I ended up dating an Edward at some point.
Gross.
But I named him Edward and I got a new phone. I got a new cell phone. I had plugged it in. The charging cable was hanging from my dinner table down to the ground to the charger. And I plugged it in and it was charging for like 2 seconds. And then it stopped charging. And I looked down on the ground and my rabbit had immediately just one bite snipped through my charging cable. I was just like, what the frick?
When we first got Aria, our cat, like she bit through so many charge cords and then she started biting through like headsets that I had for
mice.
Like Xbox 360.
Cables for mice.
Any mice that I had that were wired, she would bite through those too. And I was just like, this cat, we adopted her for like, what, $10 was the adoption fee or whatever?
Something like that.
But she wound up costing me close to $1,000 in electronics she destroyed just in that first year. And I was like, this fucking cat is driving me crazy. Anyways, let's get back to the story again.
Yeah. Okay, so charger is unplugged. No way kitten could have done it. I hurry to get my camera open and point it at Molly. I take a few snaps, move positions, focus, and take a few more, of course, like any good pet parent would do. While I was moving again for a different angle, the fucking closet door slowly creaks open again. I paused, staring at the open closet, then at the dog. Molly looks over at the door and the space in front of it, almost like a person walked out and across the room towards her. I say Molly, and then snap another pic after she turns to look at me. As she turned back towards the closet area again, my phone died. I sigh in exasperation, turn and plug it back in correctly. I called for Molly to join me on the love seat, but she ignored me. She was still looking and listening towards the open closet and ignored several commands in a row. All this bullshit gave me the willies, so I turned up the heat, I go sit back down and waited for my phone to boot up. The silence was killing me, so I turned on a ripped DVD of Adventure Time episodes.
Well done.
I could finally check Molly's pics and see if any were Instagram worthy. I go to my album and there was a motherfucking ghost in the last picture. It was an anthropomorphic wispy cloud exiting my closet. What did I do? Freak out for a while first. But then I begin to rack my brain for what random people on Reddit have said if you encounter a ghost. I chose to apologize to the ghost for the closet stuff. Then I just pretended everything was fine and let the closet stay open. However, that didn't stop weird things from happening altogether. I also couldn't mentally handle the imagined drama of trying to convince anyone else of it. I chose to dismiss it from my mind and delete it from my phone.
I was going to say, why isn't this picture attached to the email?
Probably because when you see something that you're like, like in Doctor Who.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up living in the picture.
Like the image of an angel.
Oh my God.
An angel.
Oh yeah. No, not the thing you referenced. The exact same thing that happened in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, after deleting it, the weird stuff lessened and the aura of the apartment felt more relaxed and normal. I just let that spirit be and it never did more than mess with the closet door again. Now, a decade later, I so wish I could see that picture again. It was so real and I still believe in what I saw. And if we could speak dog, I bet Molly would back me up.
That's funny.
Stay Scaryish, my friends. Love you. Dana. Thank you so much for sharing that. I also believe that animals can see things that we don't see.
Yeah. I mean, we know they can hear things we can't hear. Like, that's why dog whistles exist. So it's definitely not beyond the realm of possibility that a dog could perceive something that just goes right over your fucking head. And in this case, obviously, I get the whole, I don't want to try and prove this to anyone. I don't want to make it a thing. I don't want people to think I'm being dramatic or looking for attention because of what I'm going through right now. But you got to save that picture. Or just, send it in an email to an account you don't check or something like that.
What if you, okay, say you send it
Hang on, Robin's going to come up with a scenario where it's going to make everything worse.
What if you send it to someone, right? You're like.
I didn't say someone.
Just a random account?
Like your own account. Like, I send to my Yahoo that I never check. That I check once a year.
But then you'd still be haunted by it.
Why? You think saving a picture of it's going to get you haunted? You think it understands that it's been captured in digital photography?
That's what happened in The Ring.
Okay, one, the ring's not real.
You don't know that.
And two, it still did stuff. It still did stuff to that closet door. Maybe it came out because it was like, fucking, she has her phone, fashion show time.
Oh my gosh.
You don't know. I'm just saying, hang on to evidence that proves that you're not crazy. Because when people tell stories like this, everyone's first knee-jerk reaction is, where's the picture? You know?
There's a commercial for Progressive right now going on the TV.
Oh, with the ghost.
The haunted house where the ghost is like, you got mold back behind your wall.
Yep, black mold
Yep,
behind the
mold.
backsplash. Yeah, that's good. That's good commercial stuff. I'm glad we could do 20 minutes of tangents in this email. So
anyway, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Dana. All right, so before we move on to the next story, we're going to take a quick commercial break. All right, welcome back. We're going to move on to the third story of 4, and this one's title is Yo, the Devil's Chair and Imaginary Unicorn Friend, which sounds like we're getting into something that happened while someone was very high.
I was literally thinking that.
Yeah, you see Imaginary Unicorn Friend,
yes!
I'm like, drugs were involved in the making of this email. All right, and it goes a little something like this. Heyo, Robin, Adam, and spooky friends.
Hello.
Heyo. Every spooky friend has to yell heyo out loud right now, too.
Hey,
That's different, but you can sing that song if you want. It has to be out loud, though. Email continues.
Song is really good.
My name is Lux. I'm from Florida, and I just recently started listening to the podcast.
I love that name.
In parentheses, LOL, I know I have a lot to listen to on episode 42 at the moment. I found it through Spotify, shout out Spotify, and y'all are the first podcast I've actually listened to.
Wow.
We've heard that quite a lot, actually. I'm glad we're like a stepping stone to introduce people to what will eventually be much better content.
Okay.
I was looking for a BuzzFeed Unsolved vibe, and y'all beat it.
You know how... Okay, I love me, the Ghoul Boys. They are like my faves.
They are her faves.
I love
I've never
Shane
watched
and
her.
Ryan.
I've never consumed any of their content, but I've heard great things.
I freaking eat their content for breakfast. I literally have a...
Do you crap their podcast for lunch? Are they part of your morning dump?
No, I have a professor. It's like a doll, like a little plushie of the professor. He like tells different historical stories and stuff like that. It's a puppet. It's Shane's puppet. And
okay. I have no idea what you're referencing.
But I love them. I absolutely love them. And the fact that you put us in a similar category
it's very nice.
Is for me very like, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate the compliment. It goes on to say, I love y'all's banter and you help me get through my miserable workday with laughs. Love you, Spooky Fam. You can absolutely share this on the pod and, well then, on to some scary-ish stories. This is going to be about the Devil's Chair, an urban legend as Wikipedia says, and I'll give some lore on the chair. It is I want to mention that we do wind up covering this. So they said that they're on episode 42. I believe we cover this in episode 264.
Nice.
So we did wind up getting to this one. And I have read ahead and checked this because I don't dump them on Spooky Mom anymore. But I did check it, and this is going to be about an experience that they had going to visit this thing.
Is it because you don't give her enough fish heads?
Yeah, I don't feed her a bucket of fish heads once a week anymore. She's someone else's problem now. She wants someone else. So, no. I just know she's super busy and time zones and whatnot, and not to mention the fact that we totally did this story time impromptu a day late. So,
sorry. You know what? Okay, another side tangent. This whole episode is going to be all side tangents. The further we progress in our careers, I think, the less mental capacity and the less time we have in our days to do a lot of stuff. And so it's harder and harder to... We're also old. Okay.
I don't know where you're going with this, man.
It's just like, I can't fit all of that into 4 hours anymore. You know what I mean?
All of what?
Like research and recording and doing all that stuff.
You never did before. You were the 8-hour person, and I was always the 4-hour person waiting on you.
And so mentally, I cannot do that anymore. And so I think...
This is Robin resigning from the show,
No, we're not
everyone.
resigning. But we're really thankful that we're able to take more of those times off because...
Gotcha.
Because sometimes we need it, and sometimes...
I needed last week to focus on work.
Yep.
And Robin knew it, and she suggested it, and I was like, no, we'll record. And then the next day, I was like, hella stressed. I worked late. I had probably some of the most important days of my entire career coming up. And I was just like, you know what? I do need the week. And I need time to just mentally prepare. And we'll see if it paid off or not. Hopefully in the next episode, I have an update for you.
Well, okay. Anyway, thank you everybody for being really understanding about us taking these necessary breaks.
So this is the stuff I try and put at the beginning of the episode
sorry.
instead of in the middle of the third email.
But it's like how a lot of our topics bring up like repressed memories for people.
You're just like ignored emotions finally get triggered.
Yeah.
So, all right. This email is going to give us a little bit of background to refresh the memory of all of our listeners on the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend in Florida. This is like a headstone or something that is in a graveyard that people go and visit. And they like to do stuff where they like leave an offering. There's things that they say. I'm like paraphrasing this because it looks like it was a copy paste from like Wikipedia just for this particular portion. Where you like leave a can of beer and you'll go back and find that the can of beer is empty or gone.
Like it's not cracked open or anything. It's just empty.
And like they're saying like the devil is coming to get it or sit in the chair, or that if you do sit in the chair yourself, something bad will happen to you. Or I think in that particular episode, I talk about a legend where like someone sat in the chair and then the friends like went to the car and the person just disappeared and was never found again. Which, I checked and I couldn't find any missing persons reports from that area. So it's definitely a local legend type of thing, but that's what we're talking about here. That's the sort of local legend that this person is going to talk about. And the email kicks back on and says, well, I went here to check it out with my friend because why not? We're in the area and said, fuck it. So, I mean, it doesn't say it like that in the email. That's just how I read the phrase, fuck it. So we were driving there, nothing really crazy, down some small back road, and then we started seeing the gates of the cemetery that the Devil's Chair is in. We pull in and park the car. We looked around for it and couldn't find it at first, so we went back to the pictures we found online of the chairs and went out looking again. And of course, I found it. So I called my friend over and, well, she said the same thing. There was 2 of them, exactly alike. It was odd because everywhere I've seen online only talks about one. Yeah, I was going to say, it only has one in all the stuff that I've researched. I was hella confused, but I look up the small hill and there was a second one, and there was some people there trying to get photos of orbs or whatever there was around the Devil's Chair. So I tell her to sit in the one I found and see what happens, and well, nothing. So I'm trying to brew something up with my 2 brain cells. I said, I have a plan. You go to the other chair at the top of the hill and just wait. So she did. I called her and I said, walk up to the 2 front stones and touch them on the count of 3, so we would be touching them at the same time. Then I told her to walk up to the chair and that we had to sit and close our eyes at the same time. So I counted to 3 again and we sat and closed our eyes. I sat down with my eyes closed and felt peace. I saw 2 orangish yellow orbs floating in front of me and I just relaxed deeper. And then my friend walked up to me and said, you good? I laughed and said yes and asked her, did anything happen? She said, no, not really. I said that I saw the orb thingies and she gave a confused look, but I just kept explaining them. So that's my Scaryish story number 1. Sorry it was so long. It wasn't that long. But I do want to send more, and I have an imaginary unicorn friend that lived in my closet that I want to talk about, since y'all want to hear about imaginary friends. Thank you for all that you do, and love the Spooky Fam. Y'all the best. Man, the title really promised this imaginary unicorn friend.
I need to know more about this unicorn
I got
friend.
really sad at the end of the imaginary unicorn. I was like, where the fuck is the unicorn going to come in with this chair story? And it didn't show up. I guess this is like, I don't know, going to see.
You know where it's like you read a novel and then it has a cliffhanger at the end where you're like, well, now I need to know what happens next.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is like going to see Lord of the Rings, not realizing that it's part of a trilogy when you're in, junior year in high school and being like, whoa, what the fuck happens after Boromir dies? Spoiler alert. Robin has this shocked face like she can't realize that I just spoiled something that came out in fucking 2001.
Yeah,
but I don't want to hear your concerns.
It's
Lux, that was a great story. I really want to hear about your imaginary friend. I'm going to reply to this email as soon as the show is over and let you know we're going to be reading this on the most recent episode and to let us know what happened with this imaginary unicorn friend. Glad that you visited the Devil's Chair. Nothing bad happened to you. I've not heard that there's 2 of them. That is a new development for me. So I thought it was going to go where like one of them was fake and then you like stood up and it wasn't there the entire time and you just imagined it and it was like a group hallucination or something like that. But nah, seems like there actually is 2 of these fucking things in that cemetery. So good to know.
It would make sense that they would be connected if there's 2.
Yeah, or one of them's fake and was put there by people trying to like get people away from the normal one.
I could see that.
It's like, God damn it, we need to do our blood sacrifice, but all these fucking nerds keep showing up.
Speaking of nerds, if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings and you are a fantasy, like you love fantasy stuff, you love Game of Thrones, you love like...
Are you literally making a pitch for people to watch Lord of the Rings right now?
Please watch Lord of the Rings. Extended edition. You cannot just watch the regular one.
If you're sitting around one day and you're like, I have around 11 and a half hours
it's like
to
12
waste.
and a half.
Yeah, with the extended editions, they're very fucking long.
Worth it. They are so worth it. Just watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Please. If you are into fantasy,
my fantasy is getting
adventure.
To the 4th email right now.
If you're into fantasy and adventure, please watch Lord of the Rings. It is
they're not sponsoring us. You know that, right?
They're not sponsoring us.
Peter Jackson's not behind the door like, yeah, say more about Lord of the Rings.
Well, I don't have to. That's the thing. I don't have to advertise for Lord of the Rings because
everyone's already fucking seen it.
They should have. And if you haven't and don't know what happens to Boromir or why
he's fine, dude.
It happens the way
he's
it does,
just sleeping.
like anyway, that's
Robin's pitch to go watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you one more time for sending in that email. Let's move on to the 4th and sweet, merciful Christ, final email of this show.
You know, Adam was like, this is going to be a lot longer than our normal Storytime episodes. And we didn't actually think it was going to be this long of an episode. That's just what kind of mush our brains are that we've
It's just
added
the way
so
the
many
cookie
side.
crumbled. I have had
I've already said that this episode.
I
You
know. I was
can't-
mocking you, bitch.
Fuck you.
I have had such a like gauntlet of being like profound in a professional sense at my job and being like the person who's clear-minded, who has the foresight to see the things that are going to happen. I don't have the time in my personal life right now,
Guys,
to rein your shit in. So you need to do it.
he was barely been able to read these emails tonight.
I
y'all.
have so many marks on this, and it's not like they're messed up grammatically. I mean, there's some errors, but it's been
It's
a
him.
struggle.
He
Yeah.
keeps skipping words.
I keep trying to edit the sentence as I'm reading it, and it's because I didn't get to send it to Spooky Mom, so they're not pre-edited for me. So my brain is broken. All right, let's move on to this fourth fucking email.
Okay. All right. So this next one is from Gabriel, and it goes, "Hi there, Robin and Adam. Hello."
Whoa. What's the subject?
Oh, the subject is Storytime from Brazil, A Light in the Woods.
Hell yeah. That's a
Hell
great
yeah.
subject.
So it goes, "My name is Gabriel. I'm a listener."
Whoa. Start back over from the beginning.
It goes, "Hi there, Robin and Adam.
Hi there, Gabriel.
Hello. My name is Gabriel. I'm a listener from Brazil. Curiously, Scaryish is my favorite thing to listen to at the gym. So if I finally lose some pounds this year, most of the credit goes to you for keeping me excited to have an hour of peace where I can listen to your content." Nice.
That's nice to know. Thank you.
I'm trying to wonder how you work out with the cadence of the podcast.
I think you just like clear your mind, you know?
Yeah.
So you can just listen. So you're like, for me, if I'm doing cardio, I have to distract my brain from the fact that I'm doing cardio. You know, so if it's something that can like zonk you out where you're just paying attention to it, I'm glad we could be that for
I've
you.
listened to audiobooks during cardio before, and
Sometimes it works, sometimes
it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it kind of depends on the book, but when it gets to like a spicy scene in an audiobook, I definitely slow down.
See,
my
I
cardio.
couldn't listen to spicy stuff because I'm not running with a boner. Like, that's not going to happen, dude.
Anyway, continuing on.
My favorite Weird Al album.
Running with a boner.
It's called Running with Scissors.
Oh. Anyway, continuing on. I have a short story that you can share if you find it interesting. It's about a strange encounter my father had in the woods when he used to be a hunter. This happened over more than 20 years ago, which is a reminder for everyone. If you have family members that have experienced weird things like this, please ask them these questions.
Yeah.
Ask them for their stories and then have them share them with you so that you can share it with us.
Also, they say this happened over 20 years ago.
Over 20 years
which
ago.
Which means that the earliest this could have happened is March of 2004.
Ew.
So feel old, people.
I was in high school. Okay. When you say it like that, over more than 20 years ago, it hurts me deep inside. Anyway, this happened over more than 20 years ago, but it has never left my father's mind. Dad used to go hunting with my uncle, my mom's brother, in a nearby city called Blumenau. Don't know if I said that right. Which is where my father was born and where most of his side of the family still live. It's a city colonized by the Germans, so the classic German architecture still is very present over there.
Yay, architecture. Boo, colonization.
I know Adam was booing a lot of the German stuff and the German architecture stuff, and
I didn't boo German architecture. I said yay for German architecture.
Well, I
said boo for colonization. Pay attention, Jesus Christ. Read a book, Robin.
Anyway, once during a hunt in the woods late at night, my father found himself having a hard time sleeping. Could be because of the mosquitoes, of course. He and my uncle at this time were in almost full darkness, as the woods were only lit by the faint moonlight. Everything seemed normal until my father spotted a light source not far from them. He called to it, thinking it could be the light of another hunter in the area. It was an orb of bluish light hovering among the trees. It's like a will-o-wisp or something that's just like hanging out there. It stood perfectly still, and the hairs on the back of my father's neck stood up as he got no response from what he supposed could be another hunter. He tried to wake up my uncle, but the man simply wouldn't wake up. Dad stared at the orb as it silently floated in the air among the trees, and then it suddenly started gliding away in an upwards curve.
I just figured out what it is. Someone finally figured out how to use their Patronus charm. also you people should watch Harry Potter or read Harry Potter. Just if I can pause the show for 19 minutes really fast to advocate for another fantasy series.
Anyway, it flew through the trees and vanished in the leaves overhead, seemingly going towards the night sky, never wavering or making a sound. My father was massively creeped out. After a while, nothing happened, so we went back to sleep. In the morning, he told my uncle what happened, and he was terrified. He hates stories of paranormal phenomena, especially if they happened when he was sleeping and oblivious to what was lurking in the darkness.
Yep, I can understand that.
They never saw the orb again, and my father has quit hunting for more than 10 years now. He's becoming a huge animal lover. But given the way the light moved, they believed it was some sort of spirit wandering the woods at night. Could be aliens. Thank you for your attention and for creating amazing content. Your podcast always manages to make my day better. Have a wonderful 2024. Thank you so much.
We
hope you
appreciate
do
saying
too.
that. Yeah, and hopefully even this episode will make your day better because it has been a bit of a shit show. But I think it's been carried by really good stories like this one. Honestly, like when I hear about stuff like this, especially when it's hunters in the woods seeing something that sounds like creepy but also like serene and peaceful, I get why some folks would give up hunting in that moment. You know what I mean? It's like that scene in Princess Mononoke where you see the spirit of the forest, then everything just goes to hell. I won't spoil that. But just like the idea of like kind of getting in touch with nature in that moment, then just realizing like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know?
Yeah.
So I understand. It's actually a really nice story, even though it is slightly terrifying.
Yeah. It could be a whole slew of things, you know, especially out there in the middle of the night in the woods.
Could be fucking Mothman. You don't know.
No, he has red eyes. Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah. He would have been chasing the light. He'd have been like, the forbidden lamp.
Give me the lamp. Anyway. Thank you so much, everyone, for sending your stories and making these story times happen. We really couldn't make these extra episodes without you. And hopefully, if you have a story out there that you've been holding on to, or you have a family member that has these crazy stories or interesting stories that you feel like you could share, feel free to send it to us, email them to us, because we love reading them.
Yeah.
And we love sharing them.
Yeah, and lots of folks reach out to us and let us know how much they like the Storytime episodes, and it's directly driven from the folks that write in the Homegrown Horse. So, like Robin said, if you have a story like that, or you want to share a story that's someone else's story that you've been given approval to share, email storytime@scaryish.com. Go to our website, scaryish.com. Send it to us that way. Or our social medias, facebook.com/scaryish podcast. Twitter is @scaryish_pod. Instagram is @scaryish podcast. However works conveniently for you, we'd love to hear from you. So we can keep the story times going. And yeah, that's just about everything I think on my end. Robin, for folks who might want to donate to us and contribute like monetarily if they can, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scaryish podcast. Those are monthly donations with tiers starting at $1. We have some content like the voting for the topic that we'll do for our next topic episode.
That's the Choose Your Own Adventure and Above tier.
Yes. We also have some other Storytime episodes on there that are only on there. We have a video of one we did in person when we had our very first meetup with some spooky friends when we went to the
street story time is what we like to call it.
We went to the Winchester Mystery House and had a story time out there in San Jose. So there's a few things on there.
We didn't have the actual event at the Winchester Mystery House, to be clear.
No.
It was
we did have a meetup.
It was at a table along a street that was nowhere near the Winchester Mystery House.
Yeah, we had ramen with everyone. It was really cool. But we also have, tiers where you can get stickers, magnets, like merch.
Shout-outs on every first episode of the month.
Yeah, shout-outs. And this season, I have a guest artist that is actually one of the spooky friends. So her stickers will actually be in our packages going out for this season. So, yeah, I'm very excited to get more spooky friends over on Patreon. And if you're not into the monthly donation thing and you guys just want to do, a one-time drop, you can also go to coffee, ko-fi.com/scaryish podcast, and anything really helps.
Absolutely. So thank you one more time to everyone who donates, everyone who supports us, shares it with their friends, sends in Homegrown Horrors, or just listens. It really does mean the world to us. The support keeps us going, man. We've been doing this thing, like I mentioned already, for almost 7 years, and we're going to keep going for as long as we can. So Thank you one more time. And yeah, that's everything I have for this episode of Storytime. So, Robin, why don't you go ahead and sign us out?
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.